All right, welcome back. I'm doing the 3 o'clock portion before 3 o'clock, and that's all right. But we're still on page 63, and this is from the book Power. Now, let me talk to y'all journaling um, gurus out there that are setting up your books to read 300 books in 1 year. That's a book per day. Ain't no way. Absolutely no way can you read 300 books in 1 year or a book per day. Absolutely not. The way I read my books, I read my books first, number one, for enjoyment, of which I did when I was much younger. I read my books for enjoyment. Now I'm reading my books in order to find out the knowledge of the author of the book and why they wrote the book the way they wrote the book. And now I'm finding out life cycles that has connected to the Bible in the aspect of why is this Bible scripture only that much written in a sentence form when you have Psalms 27 verse 1 in the book Guilt, which has about 36 chapters. And that's basically to say God says he wants to capture the people's attention quickly because he knows that people's attention span when it comes to the truth being spoken is literally about a millisecond short than the number of years that they live. So that's why I'm saying to you, girls, you can't read 300 books in 1 year because those books are literally the truth expanded. Those movies is the truth expanded into visual format. You cannot read 300 books in 1 year, especially if you can't contain it from the Bible. Because I've spoken to even Stephen King himself, and he gets a lot of his books from writing about John the Baptist in the Bible. So if you're going to read Stephen King's books and you're going to read the dark goreness of you're going to read about the dark goriness of John the Baptist, you're going to need to read the book of John in order to figure out where the truth is and what is the truth that John the Baptist is running away from. So there is no possible way that one can read a book in 1 year, 300. No, it's just not possible. Of course, you're gonna snap. Of course, you're gonna get upset. And of course, you're gonna blame somebody else for, oh, gee, I had to leave the book and I was reading it and now I can't gain back that attention. That's because the book has changed, the time frame has changed, and people aren't gonna allow you to read the book. They're calling you from the book to tell you that the story is different now. It's your turn and you're in this book. They're glad you're reading that book, but this is your turn and this is where you need to be at. Or, well, read the book that you're written in and written about that's connected to you in human format. So this one is titled Read for Retention, Not Speed, to you journaling gurus out there. It's not about the amount of books that you can read, it's about the information that you can retain in order to say, okay, am I going to sleep and live through this information? Because what you read does come to life. It does come to life. Am I going to be able to live through this? Am I going to be able to stay the same person that I know I am that enjoys reading book, or am I going to crack under pressure reading that book? Am I going to crack under pressure? And how do you crack under pressure from reading the book? Seeing the people connected to the book, getting introduced to the people connected to the book. Do you even like the person in the same way that you like the book? Do you like the person in the same way you like the book? That's why I always say find the good and the bad in the book, because out of something bad, there's always someone good that portrays guilt. Okay, who is the police officer in guilt? Oh, it's Denzel. I want to meet Denzel Washington. I don't want to meet the murderer in guilt in Miranda. I want to meet Denzel Washington, because that's where my brain is. That's where my elemented factor is. Always a police. He wears the uniform. Okay, how he talk. He sounds like this. Watch this YouTube platform. Denzel Washington sounds like this. And he looks like that too. He looks like a bag of gummy gushers candy. I'll take it. Come, come hither, Denzel Washington. Come hither. Do you connect with Denzel Washington from Guilt, or do you connect with Miranda, who, well, it probably pulling your horse's leg in order to, well, make you a horse too. I'm just saying. Let's read. I.e., therefore, page 63, power. Read for retention and not speed. You may have come across advertisements on the web promoting reading system. I've come across this is how you use Microsoft Word in 2 minutes. I'll take the half an hour one. Thanks, John. That promise to teach you to read so quickly that you'll be reading entire books in an hour and whizzing through assigned readings in a few minutes. I'm still trying to get through 98 chapters of Cults. I've only gotten through 10, 9. I've only gotten through 9 chapters of Cults since about 2 years ago. 9 chapters, that's it. And it's been 2 years. Think about why. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen ever. Research has shown that claims of speed reading are simply groundless. But even if it were physically possible to read a book in an hour, ultimately it possibly doesn't matter very much if you can't explain the story to what did you just read? Why are you reading that? Who does he look like? Why he look like that? How he get to look like that? Why don't he look like me, who is your father? Can he look like your father? Can you find someone in the book that you read that look like your father, so your father know what he look like to other Is your father ugly with other people too? Cause your mother say your father ugly. Why you read the book? If we read too quickly, comprehension and ultimately retention plunge. Reading is not a race, and the fastest readers are not necessarily the best readers. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I have learned to understand from Denzel Washington is you learn to break a cycle the slower that you actually read a book. It makes you retain the information much faster, and It makes those who hate you run away from you a lot faster because you're taking the gradual time in order to break them bit by bit. First off, you gotta start with breaking the foot, making sure they can't walk in order to get into your house in order to say they're now John Stewart. Break their foot, pop their foot, and get them in a wheelchair. They ain't gonna be able to send nobody else in either. You know what I'm saying? So begin slowly but surely, but make sure the job is done. And then you get about 15 days out of the month before someone else comes in and says, no, you're not. If I walk by you at the front door and you tell me you're searching up my house, which is the house that I live in, I'm going to look at you and be like, first of all, if you were John Stewart or Denzel Washington, I wouldn't even be walking around you like that, like I got an attitude problem. If you were John Stewart or Denzel Washington, I'd be walking around you like, I bought the dress for the coffee creamer. Or the coffee creamer. Then, oh, there is so much more to the measurement. You have no idea. You have no idea how I measure Denzel Washington. I measure. You have no idea. The act of reading is designed to increase our knowledge and open up new ways of thinking. Measurements, cup measuring, measuring cup. It can help us achieve new levels of understanding and get us to think more broadly about the world and its inhabitants. Speed matters far less than what we take away from what we read. That's not to say that we shouldn't try to become more efficient readers, which means efficiency means read the book, see the book, understand the book. You'll be able to get to the next chapter without injury. That's what the word efficiency means. If you want to get to the next chapter with injury, sure, that can happen too. Go over there. That's where the injury happens. You don't want the injury, come over here. We know how to block the injury. By the dress, he blocks the injury. By the underwear, he blocks the injury. Get him to buy the food too. He also blocks the injury when the food tastes good. You go over there, you get injured. Well, the food wasn't seasoned right, so I don't have the strength to protect you today. Sorry. She didn't cook it the way she normally cooks it for him over there, and I get it doesn't work. Season the food right, you get protected. Season the food wrong, you're dead. That's not to say we shouldn't try to become more efficient readers who comprehend and recall more effectively. Ultimately, though, the key to good reading is comprehension and not speed. Read the book, get her to buy the right seasoning. The meat gonna be seasoned. You ain't gonna get injured until you're 35 years old when you're ready to get injured. I'm just saying, right seasoning, long life until you're ready to, well, lose that foot. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.